Welcome back to another episode of It's All Clutter. It's the beginning of March, and in the Prioritize Your Sanity world, it's paper month. Paper is one of the most difficult categories to deal with in your house. It's the one that we get asked the most questions about, and I'm really excited to share with you on today's podcast my top 3 tips for tackling the paper clutter in your house. I'm Jess Marcy. I'm a clutter coach. I believe that all clutter is connected, and if you want to effectively tackle your clutter, we need to look at it a little bit more holistically from all different angles. So join me on today's podcast for paper clutter tips. Tip number 1. Paper clutter can feel super overwhelming, and it might seem that every piece of paper that you have in your house is one single category, paper. But actually, when you start to break it down into different categories, it can really help you move forward on the process of tackling all of the paper clutter that exists on your surfaces, in your filing cabinets, in boxes and bags and bins all over the house. Paper is just everywhere. So when you think about paper, I want you to think about one category as the paper that's coming into your house every day, incoming paper, right? It's the mail, the flyers that you pick up, the stuff that comes home in backpacks, the papers you bring home from a doctor's office. This is all incoming paper. Have a plan to tackle the incoming paper as it comes in. Then there's a whole other category of paper that already exists in your house, existing papers. This is the stuff in the filing cabinets, the stuff on the counters, all of that. It's already in your house. It's existing paper clutter in your house. Have a plan to tackle your existing paper clutter that is more based on spending like consistency. Spend 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, whatever it is, 1 box a week. Have a consistency plan for tackling that paper, because really it's just a mountain of papers that you need to get through. The more that you can devote a little bit of time every single day to doing it, the more consistent that you can be with that, the faster you're going to get through all of that existing paper. So we have incoming paper, the stuff that's coming in. We're going to have a plan. What am I going to do with this? Deal with it as it comes in. The existing paper, the stuff that's already in your house, have just a dedicated effort, a consistent dedicated effort to deal with it. Set yourself up for success. Don't plan on doing 2 hours a day. That's too much. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, break it down. The other big category of paper that exists in our homes is memorabilia. So know that within the existing paper, within the stuff that's already there will be things that are very emotionally charged. Memorabilia does not mean that it's all positive stuff. It's anything with a high emotional charge. Deal with highly emotional stuff last. As you're going through the stack of papers on your counter, if you find a handprint drawing from your child from 20 years ago, or 2 years ago, or 2 days ago, that's memorabilia. So pull that out and put that in its own category. Anything with emotional charge. It could be divorce papers, it could be death papers, it could be anything that is emotional. You decide what is emotional to you. Pull that out, deal with it last. 3 main categories of paper clutter: incoming, existing, and memorabilia. Tip number 1, break them down, understand them, recognize the differences, and have a plan to tackle each one. Tip number 2, be realistic about what you are saving. Be realistic. If you have tons of recipes that you've printed out and you've never once looked at a printed recipe, toss them. They're all available on the internet. If you have manuals from every single appliance that you have and have had in the past, feel free to let them go too. They're all available on the internet. Magazines that have been sitting in a pile that you have not read, you're not going to read them. It's okay. That's not a bad thing. You meant to read them. It didn't happen. All right. Don't let that sit around in your house for any longer. Be realistic about your paper clutter. If you are using the internet, you do not need to have a paper copy of absolutely everything. Let go of whatever you can easily find on the internet. And that kind of goes along with tip number 3, throw out as much as humanly possible. When it comes to paper clutter, we tend to save an enormous amount of stuff, and we just don't need all of it. The more that you can let go of your paper clutter, the easier your life is going to become. Keep the essentials, keep the stuff that you absolutely must have in case of an emergency. Anything that you can find a record of on the internet, in your email, if you log into your account, check it and let it go. Or go digital, right? Focus on just letting go of as much as you can. Keep the stuff that's important, let go of the rest. Have faith that when you need the information, it will be available to you. It'll be available to you. You don't need to have it all printed out where you can't find it and when you're going to spend so much time searching for stuff. I've shared this before on the podcast. I'm going to share it again. If you're spending 10 minutes a day searching for things around your house, that is 61 hours a year that you are dedicating to just searching, just straight up looking for stuff. Give yourself back those 61 hours and let go of all of the excess, especially when it comes to paper. You don't need it. And if you're not sure if you need it, hang on to it for a month and then go back to that bin, put the date on it, go back and see, oh, I didn't need this. Okay. I would rather not have something that I need and spend 20 minutes recreating it, making a phone call, getting a copy, than to be searching every single day for things and not be able to find them. So, really just be honest with yourself. What do you actually need to keep? Those are my top 3 tips on paper clutter. If you want help actually tackling the paper clutter, hands-on help remotely, get involved in our programs. We have 2 decluttering marathons this month dedicated just to paper clutter. We're coaching on paper clutter in all of our groups and communities. Get involved. We have a 30-day email paper clutter challenge, step-by-step how to do. Go through all your paper clutter. Sign up for that. Get involved. We can help you. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. See you next week for another It's All Clutter podcast recording. Bye for now.